Jamie Shanks. He is the pioneer of social selling. If there is one person that knows more about social selling than anybody else, that's going to be you. All right, Jamie, let's do this.
Fantastic. Okay, so we are here on our podcast, Outsource to Profits, and Nazmul is in a customer's office in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I'm here at my home office here in Toronto, Canada, and we have one of our 5 services that we offer is called Digital Prospector. And Digital Prospector is for you, the founder, the CEO, and or the influencers in your space, in your company, to be able to engage your customers or your prospects on LinkedIn, but so that you don't have to do the $5 an hour tasks. You see, the challenge is you already know how valuable your social network is. You know how valuable it could be if you were opening doors every day, every week, every month using LinkedIn, but you're also a founder. You don't have time to be messaging people all day long. So that's where offshore sales support becomes so valuable. And we offer Digital Prospector to do this. But Nazmul is noticing that customers have specific questions, and we thought we would use this podcast forum to be able to answer some of those. So maybe fuel the question and I'll try to answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, client, they have a few questions in mind. They kind of know the answer, but they still want to ask it. One question is like, "Hey, can I not just do it by myself? Why should I go with you guys?" Right? That's one of the questions, and maybe we can also talk about things that people should not do because we have the SOPs. Because this is what we do all day long. There are certain things that we know that nobody should do on LinkedIn, right? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So let's first start. We'll start thinking of a standard operating procedure playbook. So
Yeah.
you're the founder. Your LinkedIn profile, by the rules of LinkedIn, is yours. So one thing you shouldn't be doing is sharing your username and password. See, that becomes one of the detrimental pieces to where people get what's called shadow banned or they get suspended on LinkedIn. Is the intent of LinkedIn is this is yours. Do not share that username and password, and that's where a lot of people fail from day one. They either buy a third party tool that connects in, and LinkedIn's algorithm can read some of these third party tools. They get banned within a few weeks or a few months. Number two, they get caught sharing their username and password. And what happens is LinkedIn notices you're logging in Texas and then also logging in Dhaka, Bangladesh at the same time. And that becomes prohibitive. So step number 1 is this is your LinkedIn profile. It needs to mimic your motions. So, as an example, you can use a VPN system like Zoho Assist. I think even Zoom has a version of this, where what's happening is it's like a remote assist. If you've ever had an IT person try to fix something on your computer, it's exactly like this. They're mimicking the motions you would make on a local ISP device, a local computer, in your home office, in your business office, as you would do it during, let's say, North American hours. That's kind of one of the most important pieces to get right up front. Step number 2 in the standard operating procedure is don't try to make things up as you're going along. Meaning, and this is where a lot of founders and CEOs, they just get too busy and all of a sudden they want to prospect on LinkedIn, but they don't know who are they going to prospect. They didn't build out a list of prospects and customers. They didn't develop a campaign as to why they're going after those people. They didn't build messaging cadences or sequences, so there's no order of operations as to why they're engaging. So they sit dormant trying to figure out, well, who should I talk to today? But that's just time and calorie wasted. So you have to design all that in advance. And then number 3 is you have to be wildly consistent. Okay, and this also plays part to the algorithm of LinkedIn. If you're messaging 500 people one day and then 20 the next and then 600 the next day and then 4 the next, you're going to get suspended because LinkedIn's like, this is not the way that normal people prospect. It's about consistency. Now, what we have found is that when you're engaging less than 50 contacts a day, and those contacts could be customers who are first degree connections, prospects who are first degree connections. It could be that you're going after second and third degree connections using free group messaging. You're connecting with people, bringing them into your ecosystem, and then engaging. You might use your LinkedIn emails, but you're being consistent to a normal amount of prospecting per day, every single day, business days, 20 business days a month. It's that consistency that A, builds your pipeline, B, ensures that you're not getting shadow banned or suspended on LinkedIn. So, Nazmul, I'll pass it to you, but those are some really important fundamentals that you need to
Right.
be focused in on.
Right, right. So let's talk about numbers. Can you tell the audience like how many messages should they send a day? How many connection requests should they send a day? Or do we have any numbers in mind that people should not cross so that they don't get shadow banned?
Yeah, that number is 50. 50
Okay.
actions every day.
Okay.
So let's assume that everyone you're engaging is either a first degree connection and or you're part of the same LinkedIn group. Thus, you have the ability to engage them through that LinkedIn group for free. That means that you have 50 contacts. Those could be 50 people at 50 different companies. Or let's face it, if you sell complex B2B sales, you have what's called a buying committee. And that buying committee is not just one person at every company, but there's probably 5, 7 to 10 people inside an organization that make up a buying committee. So, as an example, I'm holding up a Yeti water bottle. You want to engage the marketing department at Yeti. You're engaging the chief marketing officer, the head of
Right.
digital. You might be the head of experiential,
Yeah.
the head of channel marketing. So there's then you might look cross-functional at the
Yeah.
head of sales.
Right.
So what you're doing is you're taking 50 actions and you're spreading them across, ensuring that you're nurturing that total buying committee. Let's say 5 people at every company. That means you're engaging 10 different accounts every day. And then you
Yeah.
design a cadence or a sequence that ensures that you are coming back to those people on a regular basis so that you're not messaging them once, which, if you've ever seen the statistics of results, messaging somebody once barely makes a blip on their radar. But when
Yeah.
they see you share content and it's message number
Right.
5 over the course of a couple weeks or months, they start to resonate with it. So it's
Mhm.
this calendar of events.
Got it. No, that's a good answer, and I'll tell you why. Because it's easy for us to say, or anybody to say, "Hey, let's post quality content, or let's send messages." Like, but when you just how you just said 50 actions, now people know. Oh, okay. I what doesn't matter what I do. I just have to make sure I do not cross that 50 mark just to be on the safe side. So obviously none of these are written, but this is something that you got to know with experience. There are two or a few things that I can add why people or anybody can consider working with us. One, Jamie Shanks, he is the pioneer of social selling. If there is one person that knows more about social selling than anybody else, that's going to be you. That's obviously that's obvious.
I like
That's
to
one.
believe
Yeah.
so.
The other thing is, this is what one of our teams do all day long, which means when a team does one thing all day long, they get to know a lot more about it than maybe you just have 2 hours a day about prospecting. So when do you learn and when do you actually prospect? But the team that we have, they prospect all day long. They learn about it all day long. They stay in touch. They stay updated with what's going on in the market, what to do, what not to do, things that are working, things that are not working. So we literally have the best practices. We don't just talk about it, we execute that way. So that can be one of the reasons why people should consider. Jamie, anything else you want to add to this podcast, or else we can close for today?
No, I think ultimately, in the last couple episodes, we've talked about digital prospector. And I think the important piece to understand for founders and CEOs is you have an exponential or asymmetric competitive advantage opening doors than do your internal business development representatives or account executives, because customers want to deal with founders and CEOs. It's just a reality. Now,
Yeah.
you as the
Yeah.
founder, you might not like that because you don't want to continue to do founder-led sales forever. You want to move to sales-led sales. But this is a
Okay.
great complement to that. If there are complex organizations that you want to open doors with, this is that advantage that you
Yeah.
have. So, highly recommend you look at buying back your time. Don't do the $5 an hour task, but get the $500 an hour value creation out of LinkedIn.
That's awesome, Jamie. Thank you so much for your time. I also liked it. I think the fact that we talked about what not to do, like we can all talk all day long. Hey, we need to do this on LinkedIn. We need to do that on LinkedIn. But a lot more, this is a lot more important to talk about what not to do so that you don't get shied or banned. Nobody wants, their profile. Nobody wants to wake up one day and see, hey, the profile isn't there anymore. Oh my God, what happens, right? With all my connection to a lot, all my years of network. So yeah, people do not have more than 50 actions a day. With this, Jamie, thank you so much for your time. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and hit that like button. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcast or Google, do subscribe. So until next time, see you.
Thank you.